You both were laughing so hard that you were crying.
Yes.
Yeah.
We all on set were laughing so hard we were crying.
Oh,
How
I
much
hope
fun
so.
was this just for the two of you to be back together?
Well, this is never not fun.
Fun.
Yes.
It's just the most fun,
Fun.
ever to be together, especially to do something like this. We just laugh a lot.
Yeah.
We laugh a lot. I don't know if we actually put a sentence together just now
You'll see.
that made any sense
Editing.
at all. But because we know we have a shorthand, so we usually don't feel the need to finish sentences.
No,
'Cause
it's
we
not
just go-
necessary.
It all made perfect sense.
I hope
It
so.
was perfect. Do you remember the first time that you both met?
Yes, at the table read.
Table read.
Tell me about that.
White flowy blouse with a long necklace and jeans. Hippie
Yeah.
Phoebe, and hair up, half down. And
Yeah.
I would just remember meeting was the sweetest person. Everybody was so lovely,
Yeah.
and then everyone then spoke the words that were on the page.
Right.
And oh my God,
All
what
of
is?
us were
How did I
blown
get?
away.
How did this just happen to me? How am I here? I'm in this room, and I think this might go for more than 6 episodes. I had
Yeah.
never had a show that went for more than like maybe one. You know.
You knew that you had something special right from the start?
I knew these people were really special,
Yeah.
and I knew the show was really special. So I mean, something
But
felt
that didn't
special.
mean
Yeah,
that it got picked up and you.
course.
yeah, we didn't know it.
Yeah.
The back nine. Then we got the
trust.
back nine. They
We
call
got
it.
the back 11.
We did.
Yeah, it's usually 22 episodes.
Yes.
You do a pilot, then 12, and then 9 more. The back 9.
Yes.
But we got the back 11. Every year, 24.
Wow. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
See, I forgot that.
Oh, see, ooh,
You like-
I remembered something.
You did.
Kiki, what was it like to sit down with the Sharon Stone for this
Well,
conversation?
I mean, Sharon Stone has always been so fierce, iconic, incredible, beautiful, amazing. So coming to it, I was excited to talk to her, but also to get to know her more personally. We met like one time before, some years ago. And honestly, she's an experience. Like you really had like being in the room with her. Even when we first said hello coming out there, I was just like, oh, this is going to be a gag and a key.
And we got to see a bunch of our friends here today.
Oh, we
which was really
did.
fun.
Carrie Coleman.
It's been like old home week here. It's
Yes.
just been so nice.
Now, Sharon, you are working with some amazing younger actresses on Euphoria.
Oh, yes.
And now today you're sitting with Kiki. How are you inspired by this generation of actors?
It is so exciting to watch actors in their freedom. You have to remember that when I started, there was this board that all TV and film had to be put in front of, the ratings board. And women had to sit with their legs crossed at the ankles. And if you did a scene in a bedroom, you were to keep a foot on the floor. Like there was all this kind of crazy stuff in the beginning.
Yes.
When I first started doing TV when I was a kid, I mean, there were 1,000 rules. Some of the rules were like you couldn't even see a woman's armpit.
Yeah.
It was so in a box
Yeah.
around who women could be and how we could be seen on film. And now, I mean, you get to see this woman play a suburban housewife in an interracial international marriage.
Yeah.
You get to see her play a little girl who grows up to be a pimp. You get to see women of all shapes, colors, and sizes be everything you could ever possibly imagine. It wasn't like that.
Yeah.
And for me, this is enormous progress. Yes, we are hitting walls. Yes, we are hitting conflicts. Yes, we are hitting fear like it's a tornado. But that's just fear.
And I have to say that you are an inspiration of that path being able to be paved. The roles that you've played, the way that you've been able to enhance who women are in media across your career, and you continue to do so, is why that's possible. You know what I
Thank
mean?
you.
It truly,
Thank
truly
you.
is.
Thank you.
That's who you are. You have been that person where it's like, you know, Sharon Stone, you've set the stage.
I super appreciate you saying that. I really do. Because there were a lot of painful times when my head was hitting that glass ceiling and hitting it and hitting it and hitting it. And those phrases was getting were, women don't get that. Women can't do that. That's a vanity deal. It's this, it's that. There were 1,000 different things it was called, but basically it meant that is what it meant. it meant I'm putting my hand on your forehead and I'm shoving you out of the way.
That's terrible.
And you had to be pretty tough. My dad said to me, when I left home, he gave me this tiny little cutout out of a newspaper or a magazine, and it was Babe Ruth stats. And he said, I want you to put this and tape this in your wallet. And I said, why? And he said, because Babe Ruth struck out more than he got home runs. I'm gonna cry because I miss my dad so much. But he said, but you just have to keep getting up to bat.
You do.
And it's so hard.
Yeah.
It's so hard because you get hit with the ball, you get hit with the bat, you get smashed from base to base. Sometimes you lose the World Series and you get blamed for it, but you still have to get up to bat if you want to be Babe Ruth. And I don't know about you, but that's who I am.
Yes.
I want to be the Babe Ruth.
And the truth is the
Of it.
truth. That's
Yes.
why you shine forever.
Yeah.
The truth is the truth. No matter how many times people try to put dust over it, it's going to
Yes.
always shine. It can't be hidden.
It's also the most fascinating life journey.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the most dangerous, scary, interesting, hard to hold to thing to do is to just be honest. Honesty is a very rare thing,
Yeah.
especially in this moment in time.
Thank you to
Me and
your-
her will
Thank
go
you.
on for
Here's-
years.
here's
You
what I
know?
was gonna say.
We're going to be in something
Yeah,
together.
I love
You're
it.
not
On for
gonna-
decades.
you're
We're
not
ready
gonna
to see
lose
it. You two are obviously good friends, and it's not like we staged this reunion and it was the first time that you've seen each other since Scandal Rap. How often are you two talking on a regular basis?
Kind of depends on
Yeah,
what's
it's
going
for
on.
several times a year for sure, and it
Yeah.
depends on what's going on. I'd say they're like intense bursts, right?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I feel like I'm asking Namdi how you are all the time because Tony's now become really good friends with my husband. So he's like, "Oh, you're having lunch with Tony.
Yeah.
How's he doing?"
Yeah,
And then I get jealous and call Tony because I'm like, "He's my friend first."
So
And we have like a scandal family text
yeah, our
chains
text-
that's always
we're
popping
always-
on
still
a-
active?
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
on
we
an almost
celebrate each
daily
other's birthdays.
basis.
When somebody gets a new job, we celebrate.
Yeah.
We're like, yeah, very much so.
I'm curious. Obviously, we're in a very different time now, politically, culturally, than when Scandal premiered. Do you think that Scandal could exist today?
I don't know.
No, I don't think so. It was very much of its moment.
I think so. I think that's right.
It would be different. It would be
Yeah.
just.
I don't know because people are so watching it so.
Well, that's true. It does
voraciously.
exist today.
So I think it does exist in its own way today.
It's amazing. I mean, people come up to me
Having
on the
just
street,
watched
having
it.
literally just. I'm like, oh my god,
Or
oh my god,
rewatching it for
I
the
just
sixth
watched it, or
time.
there's the sixth time, or it's our favorite show. And I'm so we were for this new project, and we were scouting locations at Columbia University, and the student body are literally all over me, just like in Scandal days, going, we just went, oh my god, we love you guys, and as if it's just happening. So maybe I guess the answer is yes.
But it's like I think it works as like a period piece from 10 years ago, not as something that could happen today.
Carrie, during your Actors on Actors conversation, you asked Tony if he would ever want to run for office because
Yeah.
you played the president and
Yeah.
you said no. Have you ever considered any sort of run? You're obviously very politically active.
Yeah, no, I'm not interested in running for office. I'm currently doing a film where I'm playing a vice president, and I feel like this will be the last of it. I'm getting it out of my system. But I don't really want to run for office, but I really want to be supportive of people who make that choice because it's such an important choice. And it makes me really excited when younger people run and people from marginalized communities run. And so I want to continue to do the work to encourage other people to be change makers, but I'm good.
Yeah. Are we going to see a female president in our lifetime?
From your mouth to God's ears. If it's the right female president, also that matters, you know?
Actors that I interview all the time, they kind of talk about the moment of like, I made it. And I'm wondering for both of you, since you're here on set to talk about both your breakout roles, is this a bit of a moment where you're like, wow, like I'm at Actors on Actors and this feels like something I've watched before and I can't believe I'm here?
No, not really.
Okay, so
Jeez Louise.
you're like, that's a terrible
That's
question.
no. No, of course. This is it. This is rare air, like I
I
said.
still don't believe it. I'm still processing that I went through this whole thing and made this show,
Right.
and now I'm like reaping the benefits of it and getting to spend time with people I look up to and watch on TV all the time, it's still every day is like a pinch me moment.
Because that's the thing. You film the show or, all the episodes and you're kind of in this vacuum. And then you have to release it to the world. And as you were saying, you didn't know if it would be a hit. You never know if it's going to be a hit. And you're both on 2 huge hits. So what was that like when both of your shows were released to the world and then all of a sudden there's the pandemonium?
When you're making a show, when you're in that vacuum, you don't really see it for what it is. Or at least I didn't. I don't know. I'm so new to this, and so are you. Well, you're on season 2, so you're a little less new. But when it was released to the world and got out there and grew its legs and then just started running, I never ever thought it would pick up the speed it did and be received so well. It's such an amazing ride to be on. I mean, we're strapped in and we're going.
It's almost hard to compute. It's hard to compute, and I think for us on the Pit, it's been sort of like it's come in waves. There was a wave whenever the show came out where I would pick up my phone and be like, oh man, people really like this. I went from having 2,000 Instagram followers to having 3,000 Instagram followers. But for the most part, like everything stayed mostly normal until after season 1 wrapped, and that is when it like people started stopping me on the street, and then now that has become part of life, which is really surreal. And I think it was just so cool watching Love Story. It was so cool watching this story about somebody who is trying to navigate that level of scrutiny day to day. And obviously neither of us are Kennedys, but just an acknowledgement of the very unique pressures that one faces whenever you can't go to the grocery store anonymously anymore.
How are you both navigating fame? Because you're in this because you're actors and you love the craft of acting, but a byproduct of acting, especially when you get a hit, is fame. And a lot of people think it could be great, but maybe it's not all the time.
I don't know. I haven't really experienced it at its height.
Well, that's just because you're hiding.
That's just because
you're hiding.
Exactly. I'm hiding away in the woods.
Can you go to the grocery store? Or do you
I
get
can go
stopped?
to the grocery store.
Okay.
But
What about you?
I have definitely taken the subway is a different experience. I can sort of count on being perceived in a different way, but I feel very lucky to have come into public consciousness for playing a messy, complicated character like Langdon. And so I feel like if somebody catches me in the supermarket in my Crocs and my sweatpants, that's not like interruptive of their mythology of me, which is very lucky.
Did you have any odd jobs before you got this gig?
Oh, but I was a model for a very long time. I was Canadian, so I only had a visa to do modeling in America. That's kind of an odd job, if you really break it down.
Okay, so you talked about how you were in Alaska for a period of time. What other odd jobs did you have?
Oh, man. I mean, you can do a lot of odd jobs over 15 years. I worked for the East River Ferry. I worked at fashion photography studio. I have worked at every restaurant. Can I tell you a restaurant story?
Please.
I'm working at Evelina, which is a restaurant in Fort Greene, my neighborhood back in Brooklyn. And it's the brunch shift, and I go up to this table, and it's a young woman with her hat pulled on, and what I assume to be her mother. And I go over to the table and I say, "Hey, can I start anybody off with some drinks, round of mimosas, whatever?" "Oh, sure." I'm like, "Are we celebrating something today?" I'm like, "Oh, well, I'm just in town visiting my daughter." And I go, "Oh, that's amazing. Where are you in town visiting from?" And she tells me, and I say, "Okay, well, how long are you here for?" "I'm here for a week." And I say, "Okay, well, what are you doing while you're in town?" She's like, "I'm going to go see Broadway show." And I go, "What are you seeing?" And she goes, "I'm seeing Stereophonic." And I go, "Oh my gosh." And I fall out. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so jealous. I've been wanting to see that show for so long. It's so good. Everyone that's seen it says it's amazing. I'm so jealous." And she goes, "Oh yeah, well, my daughter's in it. And it's Sarah Pigeon with her hat pulled down."
That's awesome.
And I hadn't even recognized her. But it felt so good to be able to gas up Sarah Pigeon to her mother without knowing that it's her. Because we've all been in that situation. I'm sure you get a million compliments a day from people being like, "Oh, you're so good, you're so good, you're so good." But to have someone's parents hear it,
Yeah.
it was a really special moment. She probably doesn't remember it, but I will never forget it.
Wait, and the fact that now you two are here together meeting and you can tell the story about his co-star, that is
That's pretty
kismet,
wild.
as I like
Yeah,
to
that's
say.
pretty wild.
Yeah.
Have you ever met Sarah?
I haven't. Well, except for serving her mimosas.
Right. Okay. Well, she will watch this and she will learn that at one point Patrick Ball was her waiter.
She
And
won't
now-
remember. She won't remember.
Well, but now she'll
but look
know.
at you now.
Yeah, look at you now. Now you're all in Emmy's conversation. So how's that for never giving up on your dreams, right?
Just stay in there.
That's
Just keep chugging.
incredible.
That's it.
I can't wait for her to watch that. You have to text her and that group
I will.
chat
I'm
and
going
tell
to.
her
I'm going to have to
about
text her after this. I'll get in that group chat.
Yeah,
Hey,
exactly.
you'll never guess.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
That is
Do you watch The Pit?
incredible. Right. Do you
Yeah.
watch the pit?
Dude, I'm
You were
sitting
your
here
waiter.
with your
Wait,
waiter
how-
right now.
Exactly.
How long ago was that? How many years ago?
That must have been 2024?
Oh my, not that long ago.
No, that was like
Wow,
that was
yeah, that's really
Oh yeah,
recent.
well of course, because that's when the show.
Stereophonic,
Yeah,
exactly.
that was probably a month before I got the call to come do the pit.
Okay,
Wow.
if there's anyone watching here who's about to give up, do not give up because 2024
Don't you do it.
you were waiting on Sarah Pigeon and now you are starring on the pit. I love it. During your actors on actors conversation, you both spoke about paying off your debt and your student loans when you got both of these shows. It's obviously such a tough industry to break into, and you both have done it. But was there a moment where you thought, I'm done and I'm going to give up? This is just not working and it's time to quit?
Many of those moments. Many of those moments. I was living in a shipping container in Alaska.
Really?
Yeah, I was working
Wow,
as a
cool.
night security guard at a fishing camp in Bear Creek, Alaska.
Nice.
And I thought I thought I was done. You know, and then I came back and went and did that play in Miami and met Alicia. And during that period of time, I was applying for fundraising jobs. My parents were trying to convince me to take up heating and air conditioning. You know,
It's good business.
It's good.
It is good business.
It's good business.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of moments for sure.
And what kept you going?
I can't do anything else.
Good answer. I met my wife in Alaska.
I literally can't do anything else.
And what about you?
Yeah, I was actually contemplating quitting before I got this, like just before I got this. But there's an itch. There's like this scream deep down inside that isn't vocal to anyone else but yourself. And in order to get that out, you just have to keep going. And I knew that something would eventually hit. Never in my wildest dreams had I ever thought I'd be playing a Kennedy.
If you weren't doing this, what would you be doing?
I think I would still be trying to pursue this somehow, some way. I think I just would have moved back to Canada and taken up the free healthcare.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Okay, now I have to ask. Under this, you have a lot of tattoos.
I do.
People may not know that, but
Yeah.
we saw you on set before. How long did it take in the makeup chair to
I
get
w-
them covered up?
In any of the shirtless scenes, or when I'm wearing, I have them on my legs as well, wearing shorts, it was always like an extra 2 to 2.5 hours.
Oy.
And it was always like about an hour before work, hair and makeup. But if we had to do that, then it was like it ended up being the
They do the airbrush.
airbrush. And then chest hair is all mine, so they have to they call it excavating. They have to dig it out with a spoolie. Takes a while.
The
Yep.
glamorous part
Exactly,
of the job, right?
totally.
So you guys are obviously friends. That is evident, and it was so much fun watching you do your actors on actors conversation. Since you are friends, since you obviously have great chemistry and energy,
Thank you.
when are you working together?
Well, first of all, I feel like we have gone through a friends to lovers to enemies to lovers back to friends.
A journey.
Development.
We've had that arc and it's gonna keep going.
I know.
I'm like, if you think the ride is over,
Honey,
you're out of your mind.
buckle up.
We're getting marriage, divorce, then siblings. What? It's gonna go crazy.
I would love to be your first divorce and then be your sibling.
Perfect.
When are we working together? I don't know. I feel like I need to get my chops first before I work with Rachel. I feel like the worlds that she creates are so elevated and so dynamic and rich that I'm like, I just gotta figure
No.
myself out first. I feel like I'm just out of
I feel like
jail.
we just need to get on an email thread.
We just get on an email
I'm like,
thread.
if we can just work. I'm like, if we can just get 11 to 20 people on an email thread. I'm like, your team is probably 11 people. I'm probably 11 people. We'll get them. That's 22.
22.
Okay.
Yep, good.
I can still do it. Whoa.
Whoa.
And then we'll work it out.
I know. It's just about one
it's
email
all about
thread.
one
With
email
22
thread.
people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect. Bowen, how has life been since departing SNL?
Well, I was saying, it feels like I've just gotten out of an enclosed windowless room and I'm out in the sunlight.
And it's,
Wow.
does
And
it
it's
feel
wow.
like, oh my God, the sun is so bright? Like right now?
Totally. It feels
Like that
this-
adjustment period?
Definitely. But I mean, I miss it every day. I just saw Mary Ellen Matthews, who takes the photos. I've just caught up with people, and it's been a nice separation. And yet it's still very close, and I still miss it a great deal. But I am sort of like learning the rhythms of my life now that I'm like writing on other things and preparing for other things, and I'm genuinely very excited.
I'm curious, has it struck you, your impact that you had on that show, just in terms of representation? Because you spoke about that when you grew up, that you didn't see many people who looked like you in the comedy world.
I had to sort of like remove myself from any sort of personal stakes because otherwise it would have just felt like insurmountable pressure.
Yeah. Of like, you have to represent
Right, everyone.
3-year-olds are going to be really upset
And I
if
feel
you
like-
don't crush tonight.
And the 3-year-olds are watching SNL.
Yes, yeah.
No, they're watching Coco Melon or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Awesome
show.
If I make it on Coco Melon, then I'll really, really impact the youth. I'm ultimately incredibly grateful to Lauren and to everyone at that show and all of my collaborators and the friends I made there. And they used to tell this to people who got hired there. They were like, congratulations, and this is the thing you'll talk about for the rest of your life. And I'm like understanding what that means. So I will get to an understanding at some point, but for now I'm just here with my friend.
Well, you are missed on the show.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Rachel, you have discussed that you would love to host SNL.
Would love.
Have there been any discussions?
I've discussed it.
We got to get on an email.
We got to get, again, let's get that email going.
Do each of you have a dream pairing that you would love to see on
Oh my
Actors on
gosh.
Oh.
I love it when it's like that person's with that person.
Yeah.
It would be amazing if it was like Brian Cox and JoJo Siwa.
I was literally thinking JoJo Siwa. But when you said Brian Cox, I said, or Bryan Cranston.
Or Bryan Cranston.
Another Brian. Bryan Cranston and JoJo Siwa.
For sure.
Brian Cox and Bryan Cranston, the two Bryans.
The two Bryans.
Brian.
JoJo Levesque from Leave Get Out and JoJo Siwa.
The two JoJos.
The two JoJos.
They should do a version where it's like just like you have
JoJo
to have
and
the
JoJo.
same first name.
Yeah.
They could do all the Rachels.
They could do all the
There's
Rachels.
So many Rachels.
But you're all good. All the
That's
Rachels
next
are very
season.
good.
I love all the Rachels.
Thank you guys for the idea.
Of course.
I want to go way back to the beginning of both of your careers. Do you remember your very first audition?
Audition?
You mean professionally or
Yeah,
like
professional?
Yes.
professional?
Okay. I mean, it would have been for theater, for sure. Yeah, I remember it. I'm not going to name the people because they didn't.
It's kind of you kind of should.
Huh? No, I'm not going to. I was asked to read for, if I would like to read aloud every part because you were not given the sides before. I said, sure, just like whole cloth, just trying to make people. And the director said, you're great. You can pick any part you want to play.
Wow.
And I did, and I picked what I thought was the funniest character. And he said, accept that one because we have to get someone to play that part that men would be attracted to.
Oh, wow.
You should definitely name this person.
You
Wow.
should
Absolutely name this
I'm not
person.
going to.
Bury that person.
Yeah, that was my first audition.
I don't know about first, but
And look
like,
at you now.
I remember the auditions that went wrong. You know, I was
sure.
like, I remember auditioning for Happy Days in this last year. Yeah, back in the day. It was like 79, 80 something. And a character knew from Texas, and he was an arrogant, belligerent man, and he has this thing with Fonzie, you know, like, oh really, yeah, you know, that kind of mano a mano thing, and then he gets shown to be a coward, and you know. But first, he's this Texas guy, and he doesn't care about anybody. So I walk into the room, and Bobby Hoffman, who cast it, he goes, "Hi, good to see you." I go,
Oh, you were in character.
I didn't shake his hand. And he went around to his desk. He was very quiet. I sat down across from him, and I put my boots up on his desk like that and leaned back in the chair. And he looked at my boots, and he looked at me, and he said, "Get your boots off my desk." And to which I went, oh shit. But here on the exterior was like, And I thought, just stay with it. And so I just
Double down.
I just went. I just scoffed at him, and he goes, "Get your boots off my desk." And I went, all right. So took the boots off. I sat there a second, and he's just staring at me, and I went, "Guess it wouldn't matter if I read, would it?" And he goes, "No." I go, "Yeah." I got up.
So you didn't get that one?
Didn't get that one.
Oh, that's weird.
No, didn't get that one.
When method acting goes wrong, right?
It's like, but I'll tell you one thing. I didn't get that one, but he remembered it. Just like I remember it.
And now you have a great story to tell.
That's it. Stories are great when things go wrong. True. If I got that job and everything was fine, it wouldn't be a story. But it's only good when things go wrong to make good stories.
All right, I want to ask, how did Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul change both of your lives?
Oh, completely, drastically, because you can't control if something's going to be a hit. There's no way you knew that was going to be a hit. There's no way I knew. People think that. Oh, you knew it was going to be a hit? No. But you can control what's good. If you attach yourself to well-written material, you have a chance to make it, right? And that's all you can control. I said, when I read that and when my wife read that script, and it was like, I have to do it. Yep, you have to do it. And we were just a little show in the desert, just trying to make our way through. And actually, it was Netflix. And when Netflix went from the red envelope to streaming with a button, all of a sudden, tens of millions of people caught on to Breaking Bad. And that's why we stayed on the air. And all of a sudden, it steamrolled to something. But completely changed my career. And in that, now I had offers to do Broadway and offers to do comedy. And so, I mean, it is the reason that this changed for me. I got so lucky with it.
Yeah, I mean, he already had a track record by the time he did Better Call Saul, so I had every reason to believe that it would be written very, very well. And then we were all going to try to do our best that we could with the roles. But like Brian said, you have no idea how it will be received. And even with the Pluribus, people were like, well, did you know, we were making something that I would be a fan of and the smartest thing you could make, but there can even be backlash for being too much. We can be sick of that. Vince, he should just stick with Breaking Bad, whatever. But you just do your best. You don't know how it'll be received. And then, I would never besmirch the work that I did prior to that. But Vince Gilligan's writing and the depth of character and the amount of evolving as a character that he allows you and the audience and fan base he has built, it just lended itself to different offers, people viewing me a different way. It's the first time a lot of people even realized I could do drama. He's just garnered a level of respect. And if you're lucky enough to be one of the people that he assembles to try to achieve that, then you get the benefits.
It's more than just talent too now. It's you have to be lucky as well. And your comportment is really important. Because let's face it, you're going to spend a lot of hours with these people. And you just want to have it with people who show respect for other people and their work and have a good temperament. And then you can have frustration that's built in. That always happens. Artistically, you're like, I can't find it, or I disagree, or whatever. That's embedded as long as you're trying to find a good solution to it. But I find that the older I get, I don't want to be around people who are ornery or irritable or disrespectful or life's too
Unprofessional.
short. Yeah.
Yep. Nope.
Or
No,
don't know their
thank you.
lines.
No,
or
thank you.
Chronically late.
No,
or,
thank you.
It's like, no.
Well, thank you both for your kindness and professionalism.
Oh, Elizabeth, you're
Thanks.
just saying
Thank
that.
you. No, I'm not.
Okay.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Who did you like the most between us?
Right.
I will never say.
Oh, my God.
I can never say.
So between Walter and Kim, which I'm just kidding.
This was such a great conversation to
Let me
watch.
tell you something. You're gonna be fine. Yeah. Yes. You're fine already. Lauren Michaels' baby. He knows that. He knows that. He looks at all of us as his kids, as his children. I thank the Lord.
When you look at someone like Marcelo and you're talking about the institution of SNL and how Lorne Michaels can spot talent and change both of your lives and so many others, what does it mean to you that this show is still here?
He doesn't know it, but he inspires me. He inspires me too. He's young, he's doing his thing. It inspires me. It makes me think back to me. I know how he's feeling right now because I felt the same way. So I'm inspired by him. He may not know it.
I do now. But it
What
means
does
a
that
lot.
make you feel like to hear
It
that?
just means it's crazy. I can't wait to call my mom and tell her all the nice things Tracy said to me. I mean, Tracy Morgan is just a.
He could be young. He's young. He could be out here doing anything. He's not taking care of himself. I'm inspired by that. That right there makes me want to go. I gotta get on my shit. I gotta do my thing on Reggie Jenkins. He gotta come on. He gotta touch the show. So he's there 4 years now. Hopefully, if we still there in a year or two, come on and touch the show, because this is your next progression. This is you gonna be on your way out and your way up. Because you can't stay at SNL forever.
No.
Not with your talent. I see him as the next Adam Sandler.
Wow. How does that make you feel to hear that?
It's great. It's. I mean, it's a
same
beautiful
vibe.
feeling. You know.
It's incredible.
I've worked a long time. You know, I started when I was 18, 28 now. I've worked nonstop for that time. And moments like this from people like him mean everything. That's what you do it for.
I don't think you worked. I think it was a labor of love.
It is 100%.
You rather
100%.
do not do nothing else with your life.
Nope.
Then you SNL.
That's right.
That's how I feel. I don't want to do nothing else.
It's really incredible to think about. Tracy, you started on SNL in 1996. Marcelo was born in 97. You weren't even born when Tracy got his start, and all these years later,
Right.
young comics like you are still getting their start on SNL.
That means me and his life has come 360.
Yeah.
Right now, talking to you, 360.
Man. And this is a beautiful opportunity for me to like just listen, you know?
Not only that, is great opportunities for us to make friends. He could literally say, yeah, I'm friends with Tracy Morgan. You don't know Tracy Morgan? Then I don't know him, but I'm not arguing with you. Me and him both know it. I could say I'm friends with Marcelo. You don't know that kid? Yeah, then I don't know him. But I could look at Saturday Night Live. I could go down there. As soon as he come on stage from doing his bit, I could just say, what up? And it's nothing to us. And people around us will go, how do they know each other? We know each other. Don't worry about it.
What is the number one thing you are going to take away from today's conversation?
Man, it's a lot. I think Tracy's a beautiful image of the way he operates from a place of love, place of gratitude. I always look up to people that operate from a place of love and a place of gratitude. And he's a perfect example of that. And the way he is with his people, the way he mentioned everybody when he were doing the interview. These are the type of people I look up to. People that show love, people that have a great relationship with their mentors and the people they looked up to. You know, when we talked a minute ago, he was like, I was at Eddie's house the other day and hanging out with him, and he's regular and he's in his house and I'm with him. And I look up to the fact that that's how he lives his life. I can only ask God to give me more people like Tracy that will talk to me the way he talked to me today.
Come on, man.
Stay funny. Love. Show love.
I ain't feel like crying.
But it's true. It's true. I got goosebumps too.
You're making Tracy Morgan cry.
Well, he's gonna make my mom cry when she sees it. My sister, my family, you know, hearing from him everything he said and believing in me, you know, having a guy like this believing in you and making you feel good about yourself. He doesn't have to do that. He doesn't have to do any of it.
I'm proud of him.
He does it because he wants to.
You can tell that you're proud of him. You can tell.
My wife is Dominican. She's proud of him. She's proud of him.
Now, Marcelo, I want to put you on the spot for a minute.
Okay.
You did an incredible impression on SNL of Sebastian Maniscalco. And he commented and said how great you were. It was so good.
The red jacket?
It was so good. What do you think about doing a little Tracy Morgan impression
Oh,
now?
no. Oh, don't you
It's
dare.
SNL, they
Don't
put
you
the makeup
dare, girl.
on him.
Exactly.
As soon as I
Put
do
the
it.
makeup on you and do it.
Don't do it.
Well, no,
Don't do it.
no.
Put the makeup on me.
If he could do it, I want you to do it right.
Yeah, right.
You spent time on me, so you get the man. You know what to do. Do it. Why not?
If I could do any character of his, it could be Dominican Lou.
Then do it.
But,
Listen to me.
when you come host,
let's do it.
Yeah.
You promise?
We should do a Dominican news show.
I'm Dominican Lou, and this is my son.
Yeah.
Papito.
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 And my model, not the same, but
for her.
But it's different because my
Why
father.
you say that?
My father always say when the woman make a loving with somebody,
I
is
put it
not
like that.
Is it not in the same race?
That's how I put it.
That's with the love.
That's
You
with the love.
understand?
With the love.
With the love and only in there.
We created a new character.
What is your name?
We created a new character.
What is your name?
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Like the queen.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yes,
You
yes.
see the queen,
But
man.
why you putting her there
Why
like
you
that?
putting it there like that? You know what we're saying?
You know, I knew that you would say my name so much better than I said it. It's beautiful when you say it, Marcelo.
Elizabeth?
Yes.
You know,
You don't forget about the end of the name. Elizabeth.
If I do host the show, that will happen.
That'll be
I
And
love
when
it.
you see it happen, you're gonna go, I was there when they created
Exactly.
it. Because he's really Dominican, and I'm Dominican Lou. So, and the funny thing is gonna be funny. You see Dominican Lou hair, he's gonna have the same hair,
Same hair.
and the same shirt.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
We made magic happen here. You two obviously have a lot of history. You go way back. But when was the last time that you saw each other before today?
I have no idea.
I haven't the foggiest. I mean, it's
Like some party.
yeah.
Some
That
party.
remember that one party? It was the one where that guy was there and all that
That
stuff
guy was there,
happened?
yeah. No, that was a crazy night.
That was crazy.
That was a crazy night, yeah.
Yeah, and that was probably
oh gosh.
8-9 years
Pre-pandemic.
ago. Pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
So
Been a
how
minute.
fun was it to be able to reunite today and be back together?
It was
very
great.
comfortable.
Yeah, yeah.
And very easy. Yeah.
It was nice. It was cool to get catch up on camera.
I know. It was
Like,
kind of
it's
weird,
getting- I
but
know.
like, yeah.
It was like I kept floating in and out of being like,
Natural.
I'm like, there's lights and stuff, or I'm just talking with Elizabeth. So
We
yeah,
had
it's-
some crazy, back in the day, crazy, now mostly on the tour, because Effie, I mean, we had a lot of scenes together, obviously, but I feel like, especially in the third and fourth movies, because you were like trapped in that weird,
in a rough state.
yeah, away from us, we had to
Isolated,
like
yeah.
go get you,
Yes.
rescue you. I didn't see you that much those
No.
last couple movies,
Yeah.
and then we would like go to Paris and Berlin and London and promote the films, and so we got to have a
hang
lot
out,
of fun
yeah.
nights together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you were on the set with the first Hunger Games, obviously it was based off of such a huge franchise. Did you know that it was something special when you were filming?
I
that
tried to
first
get the rights to the book.
You did.
That's how
really?
much I love
Oh,
the book.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I read the book and I was like, this has to be a movie. We had read The Maze Runner as well. We were looking for YA and we lost out on Maze Runner. And then I was like, I want the rights to this, and Nina had them already. She had locked them up like immediately. So I knew that the series was super special. Also to read something as a woman that starred Katniss is such an incredible character and role model and heart and like she's so badass that I knew there was something in it right away. So yeah, I loved it from jump.
In both of your careers, how important has the Hunger Games been to you and really the audience response throughout the years?
For me, it's been very important. You know, I think that was, it's just, like Elizabeth was saying, like the story is so great and Katniss is so beloved and powerful that the fan base is just massive. And so I think taking on a character like Peeta it's like a once in a lifetime kind of thing to get to be a part of something that means so much and means so much to so many people. And I think that it's afforded me so many opportunities. And it's definitely a big part of what's made my career what it is today.
Same. Yeah. I think affording me opportunity is a great way to put what the Hunger Games is, you know? And also I made a lot of great friends, and I mean, we had an incredible time.
It was a great group.
It was.
And final question, how excited are you that there is yet another film coming?
Oh, I'm so excited.
Same.
Yeah, the book is so good, and like I was saying to Elizabeth earlier, just the fact that it's Francis Lawrence and the whole team that made the last 4 and 5 movies. It's like it's just nice to have that continuity with a franchise, because sometimes they can like veer off and all of a sudden it's like just a go make a bunch of money type thing. But the story is so powerful, still so relevant.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait to see it.
The casting is...
The cast is crazy.
It's out of control how good it is.
I know. I'm like, and they got, whoa.
I know.
Yeah.
And everyone, I mean, just to see that origin story, I think, is very, especially because my character is in that origin story. And so I feel like seeing what they do with it is, and knowing that Francis is sort of like gonna, pull like a through line all the way, I think is really special. Old fans and new get to come together now.
What is it like for you, Sally, to see Noah enjoying the success of The Pit after you worked with him as a younger doctor on ER?
I wasn't a doctor. He was a younger doctor.
He was the younger doctor.
I was a severely damaged mental person.
And I loved her daughter. Was willing to put up with it.
Oh my God. So what was your question?
What has it been like for you to see the success of The Pit?
I always knew he was that good, but I had never seen him get to be able to do what he does. And so I've been cheering the whole time. Mostly I've just been absorbed like everybody else in America, not being able to look away, like, holy mother of God, this is going on. Do you feel the success of it? Do you feel that we're all talking about it the next day?
I feel incredible resonance with people in a different way than anything else I've done before, because it's more than just like I enjoy your show. It's my mother died last year, or my cousin had a fentanyl overdose, or the stories are really connecting on a very emotional and heartfelt way. So the people's reaction has been rather intense and beautiful as a result. So I feel the gravitas of the work that we're doing, and more than just an entertaining way.
When we worked together on ER and I played someone with bipolarism, do you know that people stopped me on the street afterward in tears saying, my mother has bipolar or manic depressive, or I am, or thank you so much for showing us what this is and explaining it, because at that point it really was not diagnosed very much. And
yes, feeling like I'm triangulating the mental health issue from something somebody might be feeling to some resource that they might need, watching this show and seeing behavior in my character that is familiar has been really gratifying to hear people reach out. Yeah, it's heavy and beautiful.
Yeah. Noah, what do you remember about first meeting Sally on the set of ER?
Just knowing that, just pace yourself, Noah. Don't turn her off with too many questions right off the bat. When I say that there's a few performers that I can say have been attendant to my entire life, and I can only count them on like one hand, and Sally is one of them. I literally, I remember seeing, I'm trying to think what would be, maybe Sybil would be the first thing I ever saw you do, but I would have been super young, and that made a huge impact on me when I did see it. It was like seeing The Miracle Worker for the first time, I think, for the people that didn't know that. I was like, that is serious acting. And then, like I said, I don't know if you've ever seen Murphy's Romance or Kiss Me Goodbye, but they're the two of the most charming romantic comedies you could ever make. Your chemistry with Jeff Bridges and with James Garner in those films is so lovely, and with James Caan, so beautiful. And then, like I said, it's positive, negative, it's comedy, it's tragedy, and sometimes within the same movie, and sometimes within the same scene, and sometimes within the same sentence. And that's where I learned what I call shifting gears. Like, if she could do that, internal shifting and mechanisms, I got to learn that. I got to learn that quickly. And unlike Jeff Bridges, who, when I worked with Jeff, I said, Jeff, I've studied you for years. Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, you do this thing where your face is paralyzed at the end of the movie.
You know what he did. Yeah.
He put Novocaine in his face. But I didn't know that, so I spent years in front of the mirror practicing how to make my face paralyzed.
I think about that a lot.
And I was like, how did you do it? Like this, Jeff? And he goes, no, I shot Novocaine in my face, like idiot.
Is that insane?
It's insane. It's insane.
I mean, he could have hurt himself badly, but then that's Jeff.
I don't know what's more insane, him doing that or the fact that I practiced it for years.
That's kind of insane, too, I have to say.
Yeah. So if I ever get my subdermal hematoma, I'm going to do it the right way.
Spoken like a true doctor. Sally, during your conversation, you spoke about the difficulty in finding dynamic roles for women.
There's still very hard for women to find good roles. It just is. And even if there might be a leading role, let's take a look at it. It isn't necessarily a three-dimensional character. They're very hard to find for women, always have been. And as you get older, they don't get easier. So
I read today that you turned down a role in the First Wives Club because you didn't like the plot line. You thought that there was more for women to do. Can you speak about that a bit?
First Wives Club? I've turned down several very sensitive roles. I believe it or not, if you remember the movie Romancing the Stone.
Kathleen Turner's part.
Yeah, and the truth is, I was right. I could never have been better than what Kathleen did. Never. I just wasn't that person. I could pull off my version of it. I could not have been better than Diane Keaton. First of all, I don't sing. They would have been singing and dancing. I go, la, 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 la. You know, it wouldn't have worked. So I was right.
That interests me. So a challenge like singing would keep you from taking the part, but like doing stand-up comedy, that was not something you probably had done before Punchline, or training horses in Murphy's Romance. Like these are skills you acquire for these roles.
But I was never good at stand-up. Let's just say this. Tom, on the other hand, Hanks,
I thought you all were great.
Was dazzlingly good at it. Always was. He'd performed in clubs before when he was an unknown kind of.
That's clear.
We went and did this, if you can believe it, to like get a feel for it. I went and did stand up in some club. It was a really eye-opening experience for me.
Larry Moss had an exercise: go home, write 3 minutes of stand-up comedy material, come in and perform it. I remember I came through, did all my jokes, and was like 2 minutes and 46 seconds left on the clock. Like, what the hell am I going to do now?
I know.
You feel so naked.
I know. Really, really hard. So don't you know when something
I get scared. I think, I couldn't possibly do that. And that's when I get angry at myself. Why would you say that about yourself? Why would you say you couldn't do it? What is it about that it scares you? And then I take another look at it, and I think there's usually something embedded in this fear that is a life lesson I really am grappling with in my own life, or that I want to explore in my work. I've scared myself away from jobs that I should have taken, but the ones that I've taken have always been the biggest building blocks.
Yeah, so you were right.
Yeah, to lean out of your comfort zone, which is so uncomfortable to do, but so necessary.
Well, it's also
for your
knowing.
growth.
I mean, like for instance, Moonstruck was another one for me. I'm not a big New York Italian person.
No, that's a cultural shift.
I could have done my version of it, but it would have been a little weird.
But I'd cast you in a Neil Simon play in a second.
Thank you. I'll do it.
Well, when are you going to cast Sally?
As soon as I can. As soon as I can. Well,
when are you
gonna
writing
do-
a part for her?
Yeah, where's this old woman part?
Tomorrow, I'm going to work tomorrow, Monday. Monday, I'm going to come in and cry and pitch it. Whether it's the pit or something else, though, I can't wait to work with you again. I really can't.
Yeah, me too. You. But just don't cry. I don't want you crying in any of it because I can't do that. When you cry, I don't want to cry.
Okay. Fair enough.
You heard it here first. We will see Sally Field on the
Making
pit.
Noah Wiley cry. Some
Making Noah
form,
Wiley cry,
somewhere.
exactly. Truly. Your story about leaving ER to be with your son, it resonated with me.
It was real.
I spent my whole life doing that. Spent my whole life having to leave and go to work.
I'm sure.
All over locations. And my
Were your
mother-
children portable in the beginning? Did you bring them
No,
with you?
because I didn't have enough money. In those days, nobody paid for that. I barely even got paid myself. Yeah, my mom would stay, and they would, I think, visit for a week. But it broke my heart. Broke my heart. I'm convinced they are still angry at me, and I would say, Peter, do you forgive me? And he'd go, for what? What are you talking about? Right. So they lived.
Is today the first day that you both met?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
And then we caught some giant butterflies together.
Yeah.
And,
I said to Claire during it, I said, having watched you all my life, it's surreal to have you balancing a teacup on my head.
Right.
But no, it was lovely.
What was the first project that you remember seeing Claire in?
Little Women, for sure. And then I asked you about it. Romeo and Juliet. I wrote an essay on Romeo and Juliet when I was at school, and as I was saying there, I always remember Claire as Juliet doing this amazing sort of guttural sob when she found out Romeo had died. And I remember it still now vividly. And I remember the fish tank scene as well, real vividly as well, which was amazingly done. And I just remember the performances just being incredible. Yeah, so it's very surreal to be here, I must say.
Well, I, like the rest of the world, discovered Baby Reindeer. It's not been that long ago.
Yeah, it's about 2 years ago.
2 years
it came
ago.
out. Yeah,
We're all still recovering. No, really, that's one of the most exquisite piece of television or in any media. It was just so amazing.
Oh,
what
thank
did.
you. Thank you. That's
Truly.
real kind. Thank
Truly.
you. Thank you.
Now,
Yeah.
both Half Man and The Beast in Me are both very intense. I'm wondering, are either of you able to leave work, go home, kind of leave it on set, or do you carry your characters with you?
You kind of have to.
Mm.
You have to build that muscle because you will just exhaust yourself otherwise. It helps when you have kids, honestly, because they just jar you into another reality. They don't give you the option. Yeah. No, how about you?
Well, because I do all like the show running stuff, I
Right.
tend to sort of like, it's almost like the second it's cut, I have to like go behind the monitor and start discussing and reviewing,
That
and then I'm
seems
back
totally
in. And,
wild to me. I don't know how you do that.
Yeah, it's pretty mad. Like that's the split focus. I remember we were talking about out there. I remember it's kind of like you almost have to have like a dual mindset at all times. Like,
Yeah.
there's times I'm sort of having to act, and I'm with the actor, and I'm sort of analysing it, the scene, and how it's working from the outside. And you almost have to go with a gut
Do you
instinct
have
sometimes.
a creative partner that you can delegate to who you really trust? Like, are there a set of directors that you work consistently with? So at least you guys have a shorthand, and if
Yeah. There was tremendous directors on both projects. Always get dialogue, and we try and be as prepared as possible for the day. But I've got that thing in me where I have to sort of know what's going on, and
Right.
I've got this thing in me where I have to question, almost like you almost doubt something into being. That's almost like the thing, like you try to doubt it until you can't doubt it anymore. And so I always have to sort of be aware of what's going on. So it can be very, it's time pressure on the day, and then you have to be acting. And there's times when you do like a super emotional scene, and then you jump behind the monitor and you're like, discuss, well, maybe we need to pull back or punch in or move the camera a little bit.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you're sitting down and cameras are up, and you have to sometimes, I have to get myself in the headspace.
Yeah.
It can be real intense.
Has there been a point in which you got caught on that wire, like where you got tripped up and kind of lost your focus?
I think you get so used to it that you kind of just have to almost switch in and out. That's a good question. I'm sure, for sure. I'm trying to think of an example, but I'm sure for sure, like something like that will have happened. And I think usually like time pressure plays like a massive part in it, because sometimes like you're getting to the end of the day and there's no time to jump behind the monitor, or you jump behind it and you have to make a quick adjustment, and then you've got one take and you've got like 2 minutes left.
Right.
And and then you just have to sort of go for it and hope for the best.
Final question. What would you both be doing if you were not acting?
Look, I'm not saying I was ever a great soccer player, I love it so much and playing it so much that I maybe if I went back to the start, I would give it a shot and just really try and apply the determination that I have being a writer, showrunner, whatever, to football, and hope that maybe something would happen. But who knows? That would be the dream. But it's it probably wasn't good enough. But how about you?
Maybe a therapist of some kind?
I have to say, you have very calming energy. I think
I
you
do?
would make a great therapist.
Can I ask her a quick question?
Please, you start.
Okay, are you being invited to every fashion show now? Because not only because of the character you played, but because you just can wear some clothes.
Oh, well, I mean, takes one to know one.
Thank you.
It's been so exciting to be able to, sort of dip my toe in that world and be able to wear such incredible clothes.
Were you never in that world? Because I felt like you probably modeled as well as an actor.
I did a bit of fit modeling in college,
Okay.
but what's been so exciting about doing different press and photo shoots is finding that sort of, I think, more of the editorial space versus, like
Right.
just showing off leggings.
Are you finding your story through clothes as well? Because that's what I've been using clothes as. It's like this is the way I tell my story with characters and films and
Before
TV.
you even speak, I think that's such a huge part of it. What do you want the world to see?
Yeah.
I think I'm trying to figure out how I want to present
Who's Sarah?
who Sarah is. Yeah. And as I'm stepping out in this way, it makes just changes your mental state as
It
well.
does, yeah.
I can be so tired and doing some of these things. Then you put on a good outfit.
There we go. Bam, bam.
Yeah, it's like a shot of espresso.
Coleman, can you talk a bit more about the role that fashion plays in your life? Because, as you said, you really use fashion to express yourself.
I think it's a good storytelling tool. I think that I started, like, I've always had a sense of style, but as I was promoting more and promoting, it's like the idea that, like, people get to know who you, sometimes they'll just figure you out by what you're wearing. I want to be very conscious of the story that I'm telling, when I walk into the room. Today, I'm like, yeah, it's spring, it's fun. I knew we were meeting. I want to feel lively. And so for me, it's never just somebody putting clothes on you. I'm like, what is the story I'm trying to tell today in this environment? Maybe what I want to tell the world right now. I remember this one time, and I talked about this the other day for the Oscars last year, and I had this whole conversation about, like, wanting to wear red. And I think my team people thought, like, oh, red, that's such a bold color for Best Actor nominee. And I said, yeah, because I want to feel like love in the room. I just want to feel like a big red heart.
Oh, gosh.
And then we designed towards that. So for me, it was more about the feeling. And people think it's always just about the style and the clothes. I'm like, no, it's the feeling. It's the way I want to feel so I can feel really myself in the room. And so that's for me. It's my own sort of, like, secret sauce to feel good, and I use it that way.
Do you ever put on a character's costume and it doesn't make you feel right, but then that's actually the thing you need to go towards?
Wow. Yes. And
I should have asked that there.
That's good. No, that's good. Because literally, I've been on the phone call with conversations about this one character and about the play. And I was like, oh, yeah, because he's much more conservative. I'm looking at more like he's sort of vintage Ralph Lauren and stuff like that. And I'm a Ralph guy to a certain extent. But this was like real vintage stuff and everything about it. Then the watches she was showing me, stuff like that. And I was like, oh, this is much more buttoned up me version of, I got to find that story. Because the costume designer had a whole idea. And I'm like, I can find myself. I can get there. But it wasn't something I would pull immediately.
So interesting.
Yeah. Do you do the same? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've just been thinking about this sort of sense of how do I delineate between this is not the right direction or, this is not the right costume choice or hair choice or the way I'm pursuing something in a scene. But is it because Sarah doesn't feel right about it as herself or as the actor, I think?
Right. Yeah.
How did you feel the first time that you walked out on set, or maybe it was in a screen test, when you were Carolyn Bessette Kennedy?
Oh, gosh. Since you see her through so many different stages in her life, I'm not sure I ever really felt like, there she is.
There was one scene, the way your hair was down, it's the texture of the blonde, you're smoking a cigarette, and it felt like very sort of, Sarah Jessica Parker vibes as well from the 90s. It was that girl. I was like, I was like, I know that girl. Because I was a kid of the 90s. I know that girl. I hung out with her. I went to CBGB's with her. I was like, I know her. Was all that part, like, did you feel all that with the hair and makeup and all that change?
Yeah, and I think also understanding because there was so much footage of her as, in her 30s, figuring out the furthest I could go in terms of her transformation, in terms of how the outside world impacted her. And, this is someone who had all the anonymity in the world. She was 26 years old, walking around the city. I've been 26 years old and I live in New York City. So, you can be anyone and you can try and be your messiest version of yourself. And of course, it's the 90s and people aren't photographing you. We don't have the phones and there's just so much more freedom.
You're so right. There's more that's it. That's what it was. There was a freedom in the way she looked in public spaces that I don't think that people actually look like anymore.
Everyone's much more
Everybody's ready for
manicured.
it to get a photo
To
ticket.
get photos, yeah.
That's what it was. There was something I was like, that's a girl of a bygone era.
Jamie, you have referred to Mariska as your soul sister. And you two met recently, even though you have so much in common. How has this friendship changed both of your lives?
Well, it was a fast friendship because I live in Los Angeles and she lives in New York City. So right away there's a problem.
There's a time problem.
And we have children.
But we FaceTime a lot.
We FaceTime, often in cars. But
well, I'm in my bed.
Often, and also at that house.
Okay, let's get off the house.
I'm going to get off the house because it's just ridiculous. It's a friendship. I mean, you want to have more time. You don't have as much time as you'd like. You see each other when you go into each other's cities. You try to grab a moment.
She asked how it changed you. I'll answer the question.
Okay, thank you.
So I'll tell you this. We met It was one of those things that's, I think, kind of an energetic thing where you go, oh, okay, it was a deep connection. And as I get older, time is a very valuable commodity, right? I don't have time because I work so hard for like the friends that I have, and so my time
that's
is
exactly right.
My time is so sacred, and my family, my family and my friends. When I met Jamie, I felt like it was like a family member for me, and it felt so sacred. And there were weird similarities.
And
I
our
think.
husbands like each other.
And our husbands like
Which
each
was,
other.
when you bring...
And Chris likes me, and he doesn't
And
like
Chris
anyone.
really likes her and loved her movie. I mean, my husband went on... Christopher Guest does not go on and on about pieces of work often.
Mm-hmm.
He went on and on about Mariska's movie. It was very important. And when our husbands met, there's that moment where
You're
you're
going-
hoping that they're going to also enjoy each other's company the way we do. And we kind of watched it.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, there was a guitar, and then there was conversation. And then the two of us went outside, and then we came back in, and they were still talking.
Yeah.
And we went back outside, and then we went back in. I know that if we go to New York, we can see each other socially. I know that when you're out here, we can do that. Are we going to go on a trip together? Unlikely. We all have kids and families, and that's just... But it's nice to know that we feel strongly about each other. What we're looking for is a friendship gift. We've
Yes, we're
talked
trying to
about
find what would be
like
the
that
perfect
one
thing.
thing where I wouldn't buy it for myself, she wouldn't buy it for herself, but she'll buy it for me. I'll buy it for her.
But Jamie is a big gift sender.
Well,
she's a big.
What did she send you?
Oh,
She
no,
sent
stop,
me
stop, stop. La, 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 la. La 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 la.
Anyway,
la, 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 la.
it's one of those things
La,
when you
la,
meet
la, la.
somebody and you
We're
go.
just, you know what? We're friends. We're friends, and
I have a tremendous amount of admiration
And
for
respect.
her.
I can tell.
And respect
And
for
the
her
truth
as an
is-
artist and a human.
And the truth is that I'm glad that we have this, and if it gets deeper and gets more rich because of time together, great. And if not, we met when we got to meet, and it's just been lovely.
Minimize it more. Wow.
That's not minimizing. That's.
I mean, hey, we're friends, but if we don't see each other, no, it's totally fine because we're busy. Listen, I'm shooting something anyway.
Oh, go say hi to Noah. Go be with Noah. You're on
I have to
first
go
name
talk
basis.
to Noah. Anyway.
I'm gonna go talk to Noah too. I don't know him. I'm gonna walk right in and go, hi Noah.
Noah, it's funny.